People mistake Sigma Empaths for being kind because they don't argue, don't chase conflict, and don't react the way others expect. But their quietness isn't softness, it's strategy. They've learned that speaking too soon reveals their insight, confronting too quickly exposes their boundaries, and giving reactions only feeds the wrong people. Their silence is not an absence of power, it is the containment of it. They watch, they analyze, and they wait, knowing that most truths reveal themselves without their involvement. What the world calls kindness is really calculation. Sigma Empaths decide who deserves access, who earns their warmth, and who gets nothing but polite distance. They don't raise their voice because they don't need to. They don't correct lies because they already know the truth. They don't expose someone's intentions because they want to see what that person does when they believe no one is paying attention. Their quietness is a test, one that most people fail without realizing they were being evaluated. And by the time a Sigma Empath speaks, the situation has already been decided in their mind. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. Do you stay quiet to avoid conflict, or because you're watching everything unfold? Your answer reveals more than you think. If you're here until the end, type strategic quiet in the comments. It helps this message find the people who need to see it. And subscribe to Brainy Empath so you never miss the psychology that explains your silence, your strength, and the power you carry without ever needing to raise your voice. They stay quiet to study people's intentions before deciding how to respond. A Sigma Empath's silence isn't hesitation, it's analysis. While others rush to speak, defend, or impress, they slip into a calm, internal vantage point where every detail becomes data. They watch how someone's eyes shift when they talk about their goals, how their tone wavers when they claim loyalty, how their energy tightens when asked a simple question. Their quiet is not passive. It is a deliberate slowing of the moment so they can observe the truth beneath performance. Even in a crowded room, they're the ones absorbing the unspoken tension, noticing who interrupts, who hides insecurity behind humor, who tries too hard to appear confident. Their silence becomes a magnifying glass, exposing intentions people didn't mean to show. In this quiet state, they map patterns long before anyone else realizes a pattern exists. They study how someone behaves when they're angry versus when they're trying to impress, how their kindness shifts when they want something, how their boundaries disappear when they're lying. They don't need confrontation to understand someone, they need time. Their pause, their stillness, their refusal to react too quickly, it gives them more information than any conversation could. People often mistake this silence for softness or shyness, unaware that the Sigma Empath is already 3 steps ahead, already forming a conclusion, already deciding whether this person belongs in their life or only in their memory. Their quiet is also a shield. Instead of giving away their emotions prematurely, they let the other person reveal themselves fully. They understand instinctively that people show more truth in what they assume goes unnoticed. So they say less, and because they say less, they learn more. Their mind becomes a quiet storm of intuition and observation, recording every inconsistency, every micro shift in energy, every sign of hidden motive. By the time they do speak, calmly, precisely, the situation is already clear to them. Their response is never impulsive because the silence before it was strategic, intentional, and deeply aware. Their silence creates space for others to reveal their true character. When a Sigma Empath goes quiet, most people assume it's because they are shy, gentle, or uninterested. But their silence is far more intentional than that. They understand something most people never learn. If you stop filling the air with your own emotions, explanations, and reactions, other people will eventually expose what they were hiding. Silence acts like a psychological vacuum. The moment the empath stops speaking, others rush to fill the space with their real nature. Some become nervous and start oversharing. Some become defensive and slip into blame. Some become arrogant, showing a side they kept masked. And some reveal a tenderness they were afraid to show before. A Sigma Empath doesn't need to interrogate or test anyone. They simply grow quiet and watch the truth unfold naturally. This silence works because people are most honest when they believe no one is analyzing them. When the empath isn't reacting, interrupting, or emotionally buffering the situation, masks fall off. The charming person suddenly shows hints of insecurity. The manipulative one reveals impatience. The selfish one forgets to pretend they care. The genuinely kind person softens into sincerity. Without realizing it, people reveal more in response to silence than they ever do in response to questions. And a Sigma empath reads every shift, the tightening of a jaw, the glance that lingers too long, the tone that betrays a hidden agenda. Their silence isn't empty. It's investigative. What makes this so powerful is how effortless it is for the empath. They don't need to corner anyone into truth. The truth simply emerges in the quiet they create. In conversation, they let others speak more. In conflict, they let others reveal their emotional maturity. In relationships, they let others show who actually puts in effort when comfort is no longer guaranteed. Silence becomes their mirror, a reflection in which each person sees themselves clearly, sometimes for the first time. And while they observe, the empath collects every detail, building an inner map of who someone really is beneath their practiced persona. By the time the Sigma empath chooses how to respond, they have already seen enough. Their silence was not distance, it was discovery. Not weakness, but wisdom. And what others revealed in that quiet moment becomes the deciding factor in whether the empath lets them closer or walks away without a sound. They choose calm observation over emotional reaction to maintain control. A Sigma empath knows that the moment you react emotionally, you give someone else the power to steer the situation. So instead of rushing into anger, explanations, or defense, they step back into a state of quiet awareness. This is not detachment born of indifference. It is a deliberate psychological move. They understand that clarity only appears when emotion settles, and so they let silence do what impulsive words never can: reveal the truth. While others escalate, dramatize, or attempt to provoke a response, the Sigma empath remains still, watching the entire emotional landscape unfold like a story they've seen before. Every tone shift, every facial tic, every contradiction becomes data. And because they aren't fighting to be heard, they end up hearing everything. This calm observation is their greatest shield. It prevents manipulators from hooking them with urgency. It keeps chaos from dragging them into reactionary behavior. And it confuses anyone who relies on emotional volatility to maintain control. People who expect instant responses are unsettled when the empath offers none. People who expect guilt or justification grow frustrated when the empath remains unshaken. Even those who want to fight lose momentum when the empath doesn't take the bait. In the quiet, the other person reveals more than they intended: their fears, their motives, their insecurities. Meanwhile, the Sigma empath stays centered, seeing the entire psychological pattern without being trapped in it. Over time, this calm presence becomes a force of dominance. Not aggressive dominance, but the kind that comes from self-mastery. It's the power of someone who cannot be provoked, manipulated, or emotionally steered. The empath doesn't need to shout to make a point. Their silence speaks louder than confrontation. They don't need to explain themselves. Their restraint exposes the other person's emotional immaturity far more effectively than their words ever could. And while others burn energy trying to control the narrative, the Sigma empath stays grounded, conserving their strength. By the moment they finally choose to act, whether that means speaking, setting a boundary, or walking away, they do so with absolute clarity. No hesitation. No emotional fog. No second guessing. Their decision holds weight precisely because it wasn't made in haste. It was made in observation, not reaction. And that is why Sigma empaths remain in control long after others have lost theirs. Their quietness is a boundary that filters out manipulative or chaotic people. A Sigma empath doesn't raise walls made of anger or defenses made of loud declarations. Their boundary is far more subtle and far more effective. It is woven into their quietness. When they grow silent, they create an emotional space that only the grounded, sincere, and self-regulated can step into comfortably. Manipulative people struggle with silence because it denies them the reaction they need to operate. Chaotic people feel exposed because the empath isn't feeding their drama. And those who pretend, who mask, who shapeshift to gain approval quickly become uncomfortable when the empath doesn't engage on their terms. In that stillness, people's true personalities surface. The stable remain calm. The manipulative grow irritated. The dramatic lose their footing. Quietness becomes a natural filter, and only those aligned with the empath's peace make it through. This boundary is powerful because it is effortless. The empath isn't trying to push anyone away. They're simply protecting their inner world by refusing to overextend their energy. When someone approaches with bad intentions, they feel the friction immediately, the tension, the impatience, the need for control. The Sigma Empath's silence acts like a mirror, reflecting those qualities back. Suddenly, the manipulator feels seen. The chaotic person feels judged by their own behavior. The opportunist loses interest because there's no emotional reward to extract. Meanwhile, people with genuine intentions find comfort in the calm. They feel invited, not tested. They sense safety, not resistance. Over time, this quiet boundary reshapes the empath's environment entirely. The people who thrive on confusion drift away because they cannot stir the empath into chaos. Those who rely on emotional hooks detach because the empath does not bite. And the ones who seek depth, honesty, and stability draw closer, recognizing the empath's silence as a form of strength, not distance. The Sigma Empath isn't fighting to remove toxic individuals, they simply stop giving them access. The silence does the filtering automatically. What emerges on the other side is a purified circle, fewer people, but better ones. Less noise, but more truth. Less chaos, but far more authenticity. The Sigma Empath's quietness becomes the gate through which only the aligned may pass. And without lifting a finger, they create a life where manipulative energy cannot survive, and peace becomes the standard, not the exception. They speak only when their words can shift the dynamic with precision. A Sigma Empath knows that words are not just sounds, they are levers. Each one carries weight, direction, and consequence. That's why they don't scatter them carelessly. When they choose silence, it's not hesitation, it's calculation. And when they finally speak, the entire dynamic of the room changes. They understand timing the way strategists understand terrain. They wait until emotions have exposed themselves, until intentions are clear, until patterns reveal the truth no one else is paying attention to. Then they deliver a sentence, calm, sharp, undeniable, that cuts straight to the core. It's not loud, not dramatic, not aggressive. It's precise. And precision is what makes people stop, reconsider, or fall apart. Their words land with impact because they're backed by observation. They've watched how people move, how they contradict themselves, how their energy shifts when they're hiding something. They've analyzed the situation long before anyone realizes there is a situation. So when they speak, they're not reacting, they're correcting the entire emotional direction of the moment. They can diffuse manipulation by naming the pattern out loud without accusation. They can shut down drama by refusing to indulge it. They can reset a conversation simply by stating the truth no one else noticed. People feel those words because they come wrapped in clarity, not emotion. The Sigma Empath understands that words lose power when used excessively, so they can serve them the way warriors can serve ammunition, only released when they can create change. One sentence from them can hold more authority than an entire argument from someone else. One observation can dismantle a facade someone has been performing for years. And one carefully chosen truth can shift the balance of a relationship, a conflict, or a manipulation attempt instantly. Their restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. They know silence is a shield, but their voice is a scalpel. And when they finally decide to use it, they do so with such measured force that others can't help but recalibrate. People step back, rethink, reveal themselves, or crumble, because the Sigma Empath does not speak to fill space. They speak to reshape it, refine it, and reclaim it. Their words are rare, but when they arrive, they redefine the entire dynamic with startling precision. They use silence as a power move, not to avoid conflict, but to understand it. When a Sigma Empath goes quiet, people often assume it is hesitation, discomfort, or fear. They could not be more wrong. That silence is not retreat, it is reconnaissance. It is the moment the Sigma Empath steps out of the emotional noise and rises into a higher vantage point, watching everything with a clarity no one else in the room possesses. Their silence is not empty, it's full of calculation, observation, and truth-gathering. While others rush to defend themselves, argue, manipulate, or perform, the Sigma Empath studies the entire landscape of the conflict. They take in the tone, the shifts in body language, the emotional leakage that betrays real intentions. And by the time someone finishes speaking, the Sigma Empath already understands what they're dealing with better than the person talking. Silence gives them a control no amount of talking ever could. In conflict, most people expose themselves through their own words. They ramble, contradict, over-explain, reveal insecurities, or try too hard to look innocent. The Sigma Empath knows this. They let the silence stretch just long enough for the other person's truth to crack through their performance. And while that person becomes unsettled, filling the room with excuses, denial, or emotional flailing, the Sigma Empath sits in full composure, gathering data. They're not avoiding the conflict, they're dissecting it. And in that dissection, they gain understanding, leverage, and direction. Silence is also their way of conserving energy. Instead of being pulled into emotional traps or dramatic spirals, they stay grounded. They don't let chaos dictate their reaction. They don't give needy people the satisfaction of an emotional response. They don't waste breath on explanations that would fall on closed ears. Their silence is the filter through which nonsense falls away, leaving only truth behind. It creates pressure that reveals motives, pressure that exposes lies, pressure that forces people to confront their own behavior without the Sigma Empath uttering a single word. By the time they do speak, the Sigma Empath has already solved the conflict in their mind. They know who is honest, who is hiding something, who is manipulating, and who simply doesn't understand themselves. Their silence has given them the blueprint. And because they have waited, listened, and understood, their next move is always deliberate and impossible to counter. Their silence is not weakness, it is pure strategic power. Their strategic quiet protects their energy, their intuition, and their emotional truth. A Sigma Empath understands that not everyone deserves access to their inner world. Their energy is precious, their intuition sharp, and their emotional truth sacred. So they build a shield that isn't loud, defensive, or confrontational. It is quiet, deliberate, and uncompromising. Their silence is not just an absence of words, it is a boundary drawn with intention. It allows them to observe without being drained, to stay aware without being overwhelmed, and to remain connected to themselves when the world tries to pull them apart. When they choose quiet, they are choosing to preserve their strength. They are choosing to listen to their intuition instead of the noise around them. And they are choosing to honor what they feel rather than waste energy proving it to people who will never understand. This quiet is also how they maintain emotional clarity. Talking too soon, reacting too quickly, or explaining too much often muddies the truth. But silence gives them space to feel without interference. It lets them differentiate between what their heart feels and what someone else is projecting onto them. It gives their intuition room to speak softly, deeply, accurately. In the stillness, they can sense when someone's presence is draining them. They can feel when a connection is misaligned. They can detect manipulation, dishonesty, or emotional danger long before it becomes visible to anyone else. Their quiet is not passive. It is intelligence at work. And perhaps most importantly, strategic silence protects the parts of them that the world has tried to exploit. Empaths who speak too freely become emotional targets. Empaths who over-explain become easy to manipulate. Empaths who expose their wounds become prey for people who feed on vulnerability. But a Sigma empath? They learned early that silence is armor. It keeps their truth hidden from those who have not earned it. It keeps their emotional equilibrium sacred and untouched. It keeps their intuition sharp, unclouded by others' expectations or demands. By choosing quiet, they are choosing themselves. They are safeguarding their inner compass, preserving their emotional power, and ensuring that only those who approach with sincerity ever get close enough to experience their depth. Their silence is not emptiness. It is preservation, protection, and profound self-respect. It is the quiet in which their power grows. When a Sigma empath finally goes quiet, it isn't disappearance, it's evolution. Their silence becomes their shield, their clarity, and their power. And anyone who once underestimated them eventually feels the shift, because a Sigma empath's silence doesn't just remove noise, it removes access. If this breakdown opened something in you, a memory, a truth, a part of yourself you've been ignoring, don't let it fade when the video ends. Stay with it. Learn from it. Use it. Tell me in the comments, when does your silence become your strength? Write the word power if you feel this described you today. And subscribe if you want more deep psychological insights crafted for Sigma empaths who refuse to shrink.